Hello guys, in this video we are going to see a modification in the KLT algorithm by this paper, basically Baker et al. These group of people, they did a modification in KLT algorithm to speed it up. So let us see what was the problem. Basically there was no problem, but this algorithm was initially slow. So let us see why that is the case. So this is the original algorithm of KLT which we saw in the previous video. So here you can see that what is happening is so this, suppose this is your initial image, you warp it with a particular initial value of p, and then you have to subtract it from t. That is okay. So till here it is okay, but then now you have to compute gradients of I. So that is, you have to compute this del I. Now this takes a little time, because you have to basically you should have a window which can take the x difference and y difference, and you have to convolve it over the image. So if the image is big, then it will take more time. So there is something known as pyramids also that you can use, but this is time consuming. Now next you have to evaluate the Jacobian at that particular p. This will take some little amount of time extra. Then you have to multiply this del I that you have got over here with the Jacobian. That will take some more time. Then you have to compute an inverse of Hessian. So you have to first calculate this Hessian matrix. That is, you have to do these multiplications, and then you have to calculate the inverse, which will take some more time. So and then you have to calculate this particular thing. So here there is a way by which you can basically reduce these steps, and we will see how we can do that. So instead of calculating these every time throughout the iteration, so because the algorithm is like, you have to go down and then update the value of p, and then again start from the start, right? So now this paper, this particular paper by Baker et al., they suggested a very nice algorithm by which you can just uh, calculate these steps once and you are done. You don't have to always update these particular things as you update del p. So that is what we are going to see now. Right, so let's jump to the modifications. So we saw that we were considering this as our cost function. We were warping the actual image, that is I, the input image basically, and this is the template image, or that is with what you want to compare. So this is the template image and this is the input image. So this was our cost function as we have seen in the previous video. Now we can approximate this particular thing like this. So I am just since this is a translational warping, so I am doing this twice. So this plus del p can also be written like this. So it is just like I'm warping the I twice. That's I guess that is understood now. Or instead of doing this, I can put a minus del p over here, because del p is a very small quantity. It does not matter plus del p or minus del p. So now what benefit does this give is, now instead of warping I can warp t like this. So now here what I'm doing is, here initially I was warping I twice. Now this thing is as it is over here. Now this minus del p, I'm taking it to this side, something like this. So so the cost function remains the same, if you see. So initially what was happening is, we were trying to move this towards upwards to this tx. Now what we are doing is, we are trying to move this downwards towards I. So that is what is happening over here. So overall the cost function remains the same, right? So now instead of minimizing this cost that we were doing earlier, now we will minimize this cost and let's see what happens. So this is our cost. So we will differentiate with respect to del p and equate it to 0. So here first introduced by the Taylor series. So here we have applied the Taylor series approximation, and you can see that here we have got warping of x by 0 since there was just del p. So please understand this carefully. In the previous case, that was in the original KLT algorithm, we had this as our cost function, and there was P naught plus del P over here. So when I used the Taylor series over here, what happened is you got x colon P naught. So that is this particular part that you got, plus del I transpose into this thing, that is the Taylor series. But now in this case, you can see that, one sec, where did that go? Yeah. So now in this case, you can see that there is no P naught over here, because that actually the P naught is over here. So there is no P naught over here, because of that this remains 0. So that is as good as there is no warping on this T image. So that is what we can see over here. And this is the normal Taylor series that we have applied over here. So now this is our cost function that we have. So now differentiating this with respect to del p, you can see that this 2 will come in the forward. Now this does not has any del p term, so this will remain as it is, minus t into, now this, since there is warping by 0, that means there is no warping, so that is going to be t of x simply. Now there is del t transpose into this particular term. So now you can see that this particular term has del p, so this will be further differentiated by chain rule. So it is 2 times as it is because of the square, so the 2 times as it is, and because there is a del p term over here, you will get this particular thing outside, and because there is this vector calculus, so you will get a transpose of that. Also there is a minus sign sitting over here with del p, so you get a minus. So that's what we get over here. So now if you basically do the math like we had done in the previous sum, so the math is exactly the same. So if you do these steps again, what you will see is you will get del p is equal to like this, where this H inverse is again the Hessian matrix. So please note the difference. The del p that we have got over here has a del t over here. So now here we are going to differentiate the template image, the gradient. We are going to take the gradient of the template image, you can see over here. Whereas in the previous case, we were actually taking the gradient of del I. So this is a very important difference that this modification has created. So because of that, things becomes very easy. So here you can see that what happens now in the modified Lukas Kanade algorithm is as follows. So now this is our del p equation. Here you can see that there is this del t instead of del I, and so what is happening is you are taking the gradient of t, but now again you are only warping I. So this particular thing is like this. So what happens is your initial condition, that is your p naught, is unaffected by the update. So this important transformation over here, transforming minus del p to plus del p over here, this was only to do this thing that your I of w of xp naught should be independent of del p, independent of the update. So because of this, what happens is now this is the algorithm that we have. So the algorithm says warp I with this particular thing. So you can take any initial p over here now. So initially this will be p naught, some p. So again you are warping with some p naught, you are warping I with some p naught to get this. You subtract that from t. Now you compute the gradient of t. So we are computing the gradient of t, but you can do this only once. You need not repeat this as we were doing earlier. So you can compute gradient of t only once and keep it. Next, you can evaluate the Jacobian of this particular Jacobian at 0, x comma 0, and also just do this once. Compute the steepest descent. So that is this particular thing. You have the Jacobian, you have gradient, so you can evaluate this thing and just keep it, do it only once. Next, compute the Hessian. So this particular thing h you can compute like this and do it only once. So now you just have to multiply this thing that you have stored. So this stored thing you just have to multiply with the error. So it is only this minus that you have to do, that will come over here, and you can multiply the rest. You can just save this and just keep on multiplying this. You need not update these values again and again as you iterate the algorithm. So because of this you can save a lot of time, because the time taken in taking the gradient and doing all these stuff is just reduced to once, while in the previous algorithm you used to always update these values as and when you update p. So this is an important difference that this particular algorithm has given us. So because of this video tracking, when we use Lukas Kanade Tomaski in video tracking, we are able to do fast tracking because there a lot of images are there in a video which we need to track. So finally the algorithm is like this, that you initialize so these are some things that you just need to calculate once, initialize once. So you just calculate the gradient of t, keep it, evaluate the Jacobian, keep it, compute the steepest descent, keep it, compute the Hessian, keep it. And now the loop is only this much. You warp I, then you subtract t from I, you multiply this stored thing with the difference, and you compute del p and update del p. Again warp I with the new p that you have got over here, subtract from t, multiply the steepest descent with error, and again update, keep on updating t. So like this you can do the same thing quite fast. So that was the modification by this particular group, and that's all for this video. So from the next video we are going to dip into video processing, that is we are going to see optical flow, which is the basis of video tracking and all those things. So we'll see that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.